How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to a new episode of the Murphy Street Collector. I'm the host of the show, Kavika Smith, and here on Murphy Street we have a saying: shoes and slippers at the door, come inside and let's talk story. We want to start this episode by saying a very special thank you to John Rosa over at Olino Theaters at Kamakana'ali'i. They helped us have an amazing Shang-Chi premiere, and if you haven't seen that movie yet, Olino's still showing it, so you definitely should check it out. We also want to thank our friends at the Juice Store Hawaii for hooking me up with this shirt and a couple other pieces that I needed in my wardrobe. This is a 3125C brand. You can only get 3125C and Clop brand clothes over at Juice Store Hawaii, as well as some exclusive kicks like these. So make sure you check them out. As a matter of fact, I think we'll take you down there today to show you the Star Wars drop. And after that, when the pandemic pushes us indoors, I think we should head outdoors. So for the Outer Rim, I'm going to take you guys on a cruise. Now, let's start the episode by heading down to From the Heart, Hawaii to have a conversation with two artists that know what they're talking about before we head over to PoW WoW Hawaii at the Bishop Museum. All right, we are back here at From the Heart, Hawaii. I'm here with Bronson once again, but we also have two new friends with us here today. Joining us here today are Hot Actor and Seven Sketches. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
We wanted to bring you guys here today because Bronson and I, this episode, are going to be going to PoW. We started to notice a trend of the fact that we actually saw some of these people's artwork before we actually knew that it was them. I'll take Kevin Lyons. Kevin Lyons, as we talked to him, told us that he was on Jolly Rancher. He also said he did collaborations with
Adidas.
With Adidas, yes. And then Jasper also.
Zippies.
Zippies, yes, that's right. And so we wanted to talk to you guys because you guys are two of Hawaii's best artists.
Thanks.
Yes, that's right. You guys are very welcome. No, it's fine.
This guy.
Exactly. We wanted to get your feedback on exactly that. What other artists don't we know about that we might see in our everyday lives?
I'm gonna plug you.
You can
So
plug me?
yeah,
Okay.
Derek, Seven Sketches. If you go to 7-Eleven, you get like Slurpees and even the straws and
Wait, you've done straws.
he's done
Yeah.
straws.
That's when you know you've made it.
He did these lanyards, and I remember because me and my girl, we bought like 5 of them because they came with a free musubi.
Yeah, that was the whole idea behind that. So I drew like these little musubis with graduation caps.
Oh.
Yeah, so you got that local flavor.
But what other artists might we know?
Slick.
That's the Mickey Hands that had spelled out Aloha.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
Center.
cartoon hands.
Children's Center.
Oh, really? Children's Discovery Center.
Oh yeah, that's right. The smiley face.
Big
Yeah,
yellow.
yeah, the big
Yeah.
yellow one.
What about on a more national level? I know for me, I'm a big Uniqlo guy. Actually, I started Uniqlo because they make dope Star Wars shirts. I love like their Sesame Street line that they did with Cause.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Has there been other collaborations that we might not know about?
Quicks.
Quicks, okay.
Quicks, designer toy artist. I mean, like he's won designer toy artist of the year
Yeah,
a couple
he's-
times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was a golden child.
he's got a contract with Adidas.
I think we were talking about it, or you were talking about it, and I just butted in. But James Harden was wearing the
Yeah.
Quicks
Oh,
shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just recently, a couple days ago.
And see, and that's the crazy thing to me is, it's funny because designer toy, when I first started like understanding the culture, I would call it underground art because it is kind of not the more
Mainstream.
mainstream
Yeah.
exactly, right? But can we say that anymore? There's so much exposure everywhere with social media, with lifestyle shows like our own.
Right.
Can we say that underground art is underground, or is it just a different lane?
It's like with hip hop, no matter how mainstream it became,
Uh-huh.
there was still always kind of an underground side
Right.
circuit that people like that were really like hard hip hop heads would follow. And it's the same thing with the art world, with the designer toy art world. You have the guys that like they're lucky enough to cross over where they kind of become mainstream, like you said, Cause,
Right.
doing the Uniqlo. Like almost everybody knows Cause nowadays.
Now,
I think he
yeah.
has a Macy's float.
Like who? Give us some names.
Oh, like that guy, Hot Actor.
That-
He does.
Amazing, man.
This guy, like, yeah, he's dope, man. He
Dude.
does the killer raw man
He's
character.
like all over New York.
Totally
Right.
underground.
Yeah,
He doesn't
underground.
sell out. That's
Hot
why.
Actor
No.
is going to have a show in New York, though,
Yeah,
right?
he's gonna have a couple shows in New
That's
York.
big time right there. So
Stuff
Yeah.
sells out really fast too.
Fifth Turtle.
Would be
Fifth
another,
Turtle.
right?
He's another toy designer that is like literally. I think he's gonna be in the 1 percentile pretty
He's
soon.
taking off.
Fifth Turtle was able to have all this skill and still keep his prices kind of low. Figures that people would buy from him for $30 are selling for $800
That's amazing.
because they're limited, and he's fantastic.
Wait, what is the most
Yep.
that you've seen one of your pieces go for?
One of my like to resell or
To resell, yes, not from you, just to
To
resell.
resell,
Resell's your cred as well.
We sold a figure for $150 a raw man.
Sure.
People already offering $500, $600
That's-
for it.
That,
Dope,
yeah.
man.
What
Yeah.
about Sad Pandas?
So it's not that high, is it? So I'm kind
The
of like
first
Fifth
one.
Turtle too, yeah. Like with my merchandise, my stuff is like I try to make it as affordable as
Affordable,
possible.
yeah.
Yeah, because my whole goal is to like trying to get it into as many collector's hands as possible. Like
Sure.
I want my art to like just be all over the place.
You're now getting mainstream prices for your underground things.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's the amazing kind of like bleeding into the different cultures. We want to thank you two gentlemen very much for coming on to the Murphy Street Collector. We will be right back when we get to the Bishop Museum, where we'll take you around the PoW WoW exhibit. You'll love all of it.
Time to grind!
Real refrigerators, real leftovers, unreal results. Sam Choi's in the Kitchen, Sunday at 6:30 on KHON2.
You are my everything. You are my rock. It's me and you all the way to the top. My partner in dimes. My my ride or die. You always got my back. We just getting started though. Got plenty more places to go. Let's dance.
Welcome back to the Murphy Street Collector. Recently, the Bishop Museum has lent its normally demure hallways to the vibrance of the urban art scene. PoW WoW is a globally known art movement that gathers and unleashes the talents of over 100 artists and displays their passions in one space, although it might feel like more. Normally reserved for the Kaka'ako Art District, this new direction was unexpected, but boy was it amazing. Let's go check it out and see exactly why I say that on this excursion sponsored by Alaska Airlines.
Right, so these used to be the passports that they'll give out every year for PoW WoW Hawaii, and basically it'll give you like the schedule, all the events that are happening throughout the week. As you see, all of these are the passports through the years. We've got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
A passport for all the years PoW WoW Hawaii's been in existence. That means they knew that they'd have something that lasts over time. Amazing, right? What focus? And this year they changed it up. Not just the venue, what once was an outdoor celebration of arts has now been transported indoors. But with a culture like this, you gotta keep it street. So they brought the streets into the structure. No lie. Abandoned car, bodega, tattoo parlor, payphone, exactly what you'd expect walking down an inner city street. They brought it, while still having an area that preserved the museum art exhibit feel. The artists are so zoned in, you really don't want to break their concentration, but some of these pieces are so intriguing, we have to ask.
My real name's David, but everyone knows me by Rabbi. It has a working title that I'm not sure if I should use, but it was Someone's in the Kitchen with Dynamite. There's a connotation there where I think it could lead people down like a problematic road, and it could lead people down a nostalgic road as well, right? Depending on how they look at it. And I think that's what this piece does. This original design was actually going to go on an outdoor public mural in Salt Lake City, Utah. And there is a rich history of indigenous tribe cultures and colonization and Western influence in that region, just like Hawaii. So it's kind of interesting that when I came here, it got shot down in Salt Lake City. Coming here, I thought about revisiting it, and I sort of made it more specific to Hawaii and also changed up the composition, but it really tells a similar story that is here as well. And so it was really cool to see it come to life. It really comes down to miscommunication. I think communication is the biggest key in like coexistence, you know, and just the simple fact that foreigners came to a land and didn't know the language, and that was the first disconnect.
Beautiful, but not every piece is that deep. Some of the art we saw were as simple as everyday shapes.
Here to, create a piece, for the museum, for the Bishop Museum. I guess growing up as a kid, obviously my first introduction to art in general was just like through graffiti and then went to murals. I just became obsessed with letter forms, just different types of writing, whether it be cursive, print, typography. Like I want them to see it, be like, I feel like it's they've seen it before, felt it before. Because I mean, it is like pretty much what I'm doing is like I might take an S and break it apart and put it back together this way. So you still have the movement is there. So your eye will still be doing the exact same thing, but it's just in different spaces. So.
Now, not everyone has an eye for art, but at the PoW WoW shows, there's always something that appeals to everyone. Whether it's something serious and cerebral, something that reminds you of your past, something quirky, there's always something.
My name is Kevin Lyons. I'm an artist living and working out of Brooklyn, New York. I went to art school in the late 80s and I've been an artist for almost 30 years. My inspiration really comes from a lot of like subconscious childhood stuff. A lot of it comes from like Jim Henson and Jim Davis with Garfield and Hanna-Barbera and Warner Brothers and like Mad Magazine. So a lot of it comes from like the cartoons and the Muppets and the Sesame Street and things like that I grew up with and watched. And then I draw inspiration from my daughters who I started drawing the months before.
Family, another great motivator. And looking at all this art, there's no way that we can forget one of the more solid pillars of inspiration, culture.
Aloha, Carl F.K. Powell.
Aloha, my name is Corey Kamehana Okala Hope Tom.
And so we're standing in a place known as Waialua, the Red Bones, and being named so after a horrific battle of our ancestors. Back in the day, is you came in and you wiped out everybody, or left one person to tell the story. And so our conversations were about how the layers, and we kind of start off with Ki'ipohaku petroglyph fields as an idea too. And so it's the layering, and at one time this place is being named for battles and changes that happen because of battles and death. Here we have artists that are coming together to create change through art. This is my visual vocabulary. It's also Corey's visual vocabulary, and it's our conversation together. And a big part of my foundation, or what informs my art, is looking back at our ancestral pieces and our forms and our concepts and taking it from there and trying to push it forward. But in doing so, people will look at it and see that ancestral work in there and see a mahiole or see a ahu'ula. So it's really cool that we've had the conversation that even though we're trying to do something new, it might be our genetic history or intelligence that's coming back again, even though we think it's something new, but it might be something old that we've done already.
Our ancestors, we saw these colors in everything, I guess. Purple, you could think of the uki uki. But yeah, I think a lot of the different colors reflect, our environment and different aspects of our culture.
Well, what's really, really amazing is that in an earlier conversation, we're coming from a cultural kind of, again, a foundation, a starting point, a place of departure and leaping off, like this shape here. You might see it as a positive form, like a mushroom kind of shape. The origin of it is from our ku images, but it's taking that front perspective and turning it to this profile. Right. And these lines actually represent the carved grooves. So in my abstracting of that, it opened up the possibility. So I'm a strong believer that less is more.
Just as we had an oral language, our ancestors had a visual language as well. And part of this journey is trying to understand how we told stories through patterns. Our ancestors were very aware of the patterns within nature. Not only visually but over time. And that's a way we expressed ourselves. So.
And truly, that's what art's about. Connecting through expression. Stripping away insecurities and being who you are in your truest form. And as far out as some of these pieces might be, as I mentioned earlier, there's a piece in here, waiting to share with you.
PoW WoW Hawaii concludes on September 19th, so make sure you don't miss it. I absolutely loved every moment of being there and talking with those artists. I hope we get to do it again next year. Now, when we return to the Murphy Street Collector, there was a disturbance in the force, and it came from Juice Hawaii's Star Wars drop. So don't go anywhere.
can fly where you want to. We can leave your house behind. But if your friends don't mask, and why don't they mask? Well, they won't fly this airline.
You can fly if you want to, cause we do safety right. We have air that's clean and disinfectant machines zapping germs like an arcade space fight. And we dance to the dance, do the dance, have the filters cleaning commence. Alaska Safety Dance. Alaska Safety Dance.
Good to have you back. Sticking with our urban theme, juice stores are getting more and more popular. They started in Asia before moving to LA and have now found a home here in Hawaii. We heard they had some new Star Wars gear and special guest appearances by one of the universe's baddest bounty hunters. So who are we not to go and poke our head in and check it out? So let's go.
The Juice Store. Recently, Hawaii was blessed with a pop-up by international icon Edison Chen in the way of Juice USA. The store is an outlet for his many brands, including Clot, but today we're going to talk about one of my favorites, 3125C. This offshoot of the Clot brand is one that lends itself to the Star Wars community, and today, Juice Hawaii was having their Star Wars launch, and they invited some friends to watch over the event. This line features characters and costumes from all throughout the Star Wars timeline. A lot of fan favorites were represented here. Through a blend of vibrant colors and quality textiles, 3125C is bringing the Star Wars franchise to the urban fashion scene in a big way. Let's visit with one of the main faces for Juice Hawaii to get an idea of exactly what Juice is and what their aspirations are for the shop here in Hawaii.
My name is Brent Yamada, associate of Juice. It's been a great experience, and we feel a great turnout with Edison and Kevin Poon's vision of East meets West. I feel like we kind of did this pop-up. My favorite part would be just seeing the response to all of this with the little time that we had to promote things. And when you came into the store, everybody felt the same and equal, and that was a good feeling to have. Having Juice and Clot in Hawaii, that's really gonna bring everybody together, we wanna plan basketball events, we wanna do all types of other collabs. We're not trying to have customers, we wanna have a family base here, so everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome. For a brand that targets the nerd culture, they definitely put their money where their mouth is. And judging by the roster of characters represented in their pieces, they are fans too. But what else can we expect from the Juice Hawaii store? For that answer, we go straight to the top brass.
Hi, my name is Trisha Chen, and I run the Juice USA operations. Juice started in 2003 by Edison Chen, my brother, and Kevin Poon, who's also like my little brother now. Edison has a few brands. The first one was Clot, the second one is 3125C. 3125C is actually the Pantone color of turquoise. So if you see the labels of the 3125C collection, it's actually a turquoise dot. He also has HBA, he has V-Loan, he has Emotionally Unavailable, and a lot of those brands are available in the Juice stores, and hopefully we'll bring them to Hawaii too. Juice started in Asia, so right now we're pretty established in Asia. We have stores in Beijing, Chengdu, Shanghai, a few in Hong Kong, a few in Taipei. And he fell in love with LA, so that's our first USA store. The second one is Hawaii, because Edison has been flying to Hawaii the last couple of years with his wife and Alaya, and they've now have fallen in love with Hawaii, so this is where our next store will be. And the reception has been so good that we are looking to extend until November, and we're gonna have a lot of cool Clot launches here. Stay tuned for that. Star Wars launched today, and I think we're gonna have Clotty next week. Clotty is actually like the junior brand of Clot. I think they also have the Hawaii themed collection. Hopefully some Nike drops, just stay tuned, I don't wanna say too much. My favorite Star Wars piece is the one I'm wearing right now. It's the Clone Trooper Helmets Monogram hoodie. The Star Wars collection you can find at thestore.com. And
Got
also
that.
here. You can find our products online at www.juicestoreusa.com.
So obviously you can get their stuff online. But I'll be honest, with as much cool stuff that they carry and the crazy things that they do in store, why wouldn't you want to come down? So now that you've seen it, what's stopping you? Oh, you don't know the address and parking? We got you.
Address is 403 Waialua Street. We're right off of Kuhio. There's a lot of street parking. It's not really enforced too much, so good deals.
And please, don't make them send a bounty hunter after you.
So why haven't you made it down there yet? You heard that parking's not really a problem. Following these commercials, we go on an outer rim adventure that I didn't expect, but definitely would do again. So we invite you to stay on board for our return.
With one of Hawaii's largest selections of Funko Pops in the islands, From the Heart Hawaii is your one-stop shop for all your collector needs. They carry one of the island's most robust selections of designer toys from all around the world. You like cards? They got that too. Sports cards, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! The list goes on and on. They even have graded cards. So come visit From the Heart at the City Square Shopping Center and find what you've been looking for. From the Heart Hawaii.
Glad you're back. Here on the Murphy Street Collector, we appreciate beauty in all its forms. When the pandemic shut us down, it forced us indoors. But for some, that edict made us venture outdoors more. Now, I'm not sure what the future holds, but I am sure of this. Open air is always a prescription for any ills. So here's how we got out to get better.
We are so fortunate to live in a beautiful place like Hawaii that when the pandemic forced us indoors, we rebelled. And well, we decided to go outdoors. So I decided to tag along with my friend Micah to see exactly where we could venture off to today. But first, we gotta figure out how to get into this kayak. There we go. Now we can shove off. I've heard of off the beaten path, but this might be taking it a little far. I've never been afraid to get dirty or wet, but man, this is really pushing the limits on all of them. But with every step, the journey gets to be more and more worth the hike.
Here on Kauai, beautiful Kauai. It is gorgeous up here. The fact that they had a kind of not cardboard, but a plank walkway, a big plus. So in case you guys are looking, it's a little bit to get there. But once you do, man, it unlocks so much beauty.
A rumbling river, a mini waterfall, climbing up hills. I mean, every adventure has some kind of climb, right? Either way, where we're headed is supposed to be worth it. I can't wait to see this.
See, the real Hawaiians don't use the rope. It's the zest of life, this cold water. Woo!
And when we finally get there, it's absolutely breathtaking. The rocks are like nothing you've ever seen, but the height of this waterfall, all the things that surround it, the flora, the fauna, the hanging vines, makes you feel one with everything around you. But as we all know, all good things must come to an end. So we start our walk back. And we keep walking. And walking. And walking. Was it really this far when we came in? Finally, salvation, the river. Oh, and what do you know? A little more walking. Now for the part that's not that bad. We get to go kayaking again. But first, we got to get in the water without messing up our feet. I think we did okay. It's best when you come on something like this to not have any time constraints because you don't want to have to rush through all this beautiful ambiance. There's nothing like being on a river, on a kayak, with one of your really good friends and just enjoying every moment. Very seldom do you get to drink in beauty like this. So we invite you all, whenever we're forced indoors again, find some way that you can get out. For the Murphy Street Collector signing off, it's Kavika Smith. Hope to see you on the river.
I want to thank my brother Micah for being my tour guide on that beautiful journey up to the waterfall and back. It was a great time. Thank you so very much. I also want to thank the rest of our guests on today's show. Hot Actor, 7 Sketches, all of the artists of PoW WoW Hawaii. Brent Yamada and Trisha Chen of the Juice Store. Make sure that you guys make your way down there at 403 Kaiola Street over in Waikiki. We also want to thank our sponsors, Daniel Chun at Alaska Airlines and Ken Komodo of From the Heart Hawaii. Make sure that you guys follow us on Instagram at Murphy Street 808. There you can also catch our podcast, which we do on Sundays, and we always do it IG Live, so make sure that you follow us there, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel at Murphy Street Productions. Also, make sure that you guys come back next week for our finale episode where we take you guys off island someplace nice. So we'll tell you guys about that when we see you next week here on the Murphy Street Collector. And as always, don't forget your slippers. Aloha.